Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and today I am creating a secret journaling spot in my craft art journal. So I'm just going to share with you how I did that. So I'm starting off on the right hand side page of my journal, and I'm using the mask from the Things That Grow mask and stencil set, and I'm just going to create a cutout edge to my page. Sometimes I just feel like adding these cutout elements to my pages, and this is a nice simple way to add a little bit more detail into your page, and just add a little bit of difference to what you're creating. So I'm using the mask here. You can see I've drawn around it at the top of my page, making sure that the mask is touching the right hand edge of that page as well. And I've drawn around it all the way to the stalk at the bottom and then shuffled it down so that I can add some extra leaves on to the bottom of the botanical shape that's there. And then I'm using my craft knife from, just checking what, Model Craft, the scalpel style craft knife, to just cut those extra pieces away. I think this one was getting ready for a new blade. You can see it's not really cutting through very easily. That's how you kind of know when it's ready, once the blade isn't really doing its job brilliantly and you're having to press on so hard. I've broken so many blades by pressing on too hard, and usually that just means it just needs a new one popping on. So yeah, but I soldered on anyway, and just cut out, you only need to cut out the right hand side obviously of these leaves. So just taking my time, and I've got this mini cutting mat underneath, which is actually a Dylusions mat, but it's perfect for just popping inside a journal when you want to add these little cutout elements to your page. So once I've done that, I'm then using buff, and I'm just adding a little bit of paint right across the centre of that page, using this brush from Dina Wakley, the wide flat brush. This is the largest one that she does, I think. I think it might be 2 inches. And then I've got another piece of cardstock. So this is going to create my lifty flap wind. I don't know what you want to call it really. Yeah, let's call it a flap. It's going to create my flap on my page. So because I want it to blend in, I need to do the same thing to the flap that I'm doing to my page. So I've added the same paint on there too. And then I'm adding some white on white collage paper. So this comes from one of Dina's older collage paper packs, and I think it's one of my favourites actually. I love it for adding just some subtle detail to a pale background. This collage paper is so lovely, and even added onto a dark background it still works really well. So again, whatever I do to the page, I'm doing to the flap as well that I'm going to add onto my page. And I'm using matte medium to stick this collage paper in place, and with my sacrificial gel brush as well. So then this stencil is called Shape Mashup. It's one of Dina's, and I'm using some turquoise paint. So you can see that I just held the flap in place and then stenciled over the top. The washi tape I'm sticking it in with is some by Megan Quinlan Studio. You can get it on Megan's Etsy page if she's still got any in stock. It's really lovely. The colours work really well with this page. And then I'm using the same stencil, so the Growing Things stencil, just to add some of those dots on the page as well. And I think here I am using, it's either eggplant or fuchsia, I think. It might be fuchsia. And then I am using the slightly darker bluey green colour called Ocean, and I'm just going to paint in the botanical shape that I've cut out on the right hand side of the page. So washi tape is great for adding in tip-ins to your journal. However, it isn't a very permanent fixture. As you will know if you've used washi tape, it isn't really it's not got a very strong adhesive on it. So if you want it to be more permanent, you can just add some glue underneath where you're going to stick it down, or even a little bit of double-sided tape. That will just help it to stay put. So once that was perfectly dry, I'm then going in with my Posca pen and just outlining the edge of the shape. you've got to make sure that your paint is properly dry before you start using any pens on it. Otherwise, it will just destroy your pens. They will stop working. So yeah, make sure it's properly dry. I am very impatient when it comes to creating in my journals, and I do always use a heat tool. I know there are lots of people out there who don't like using heat tools, but for me, it's just the fastest way to keep the creative process flowing. So yeah, this works really well for me, but it's very much a personal choice thing. So yeah, make sure your paint's really dry before you start adding any pens on. So the reason I'm outlining it is just to kind of pull that image forward, bring it into the foreground a bit more, and make it a bit more of a focal point of the page. So then I am using one of the stamps from Dina's stamp set called Half Faces, and I'm going to be stamping this onto some collage tissue paper. I'm using black archival ink to stamp the image onto there too, and I've got the stamp on an acrylic block. That's just so that I can get a much sharper, clearer stamped image onto the collage paper. Okay, so then I've cut that out, and I've stuck it down using some gel medium, some matte medium. And here you can see I'm just extending that face, extending the neck down onto the bottom of my page, just so that head isn't floating. And the Islamic writing that Dina has made as part of the stamp, I'm just bringing that down as well too. So that's another way that I'm helping to mask that hidden journaling spot there too. I've also added some dots onto the bottom of my page around that cut out botanical element. And then because I've added some white down there, I decided I wanted to go around that botanical shape with my white Signo Uniball. I don't know, just kind of quite like how that works together. It kind of pulls those white elements on the page together better than the black, I think. A good thing to do with these stamped face images is always to add the whites of the eye in. It does kind of give the face a bit of life too. And then sometimes I like to add some highlights onto the face as well, just again to just give it a bit more life and a bit more depth. So now I've opened up the flap and I'm going to do my journaling on the inside, and I'm just working out where my words are going to fit and whether they are going to fit before I start writing. So I'm going in again with the smaller Posca pen, and I'm just starting to write in my words. So using these lines to help you with your lettering is a really great way to just kind of help your writing have a bit of a flow about it. You can make your letters fit the size of your lines, because you notice mine are getting bigger and smaller. They're not uniform at all. I actually quite like the way that the lettering looks when it's weaving its way in and out of the lines. So for me, this is a great way to get my writing on my page and to kind of make sure that it fits, and also it's got that little bit of a quirky look about it. So once I'd fitted all my letters in, I'm then going in with a thicker Posca pen and just going over those letters. So just kind of making them a little bit darker, really making them stand out a little bit better. Okay, and then I've closed the little flap up, so the journaling is completely hidden. And at a glance, when you first open the page, you wouldn't really know it was there. I'm just adding some more dots onto my page. As you know, this is something I love to do, and I have a stamp set that I've recently had produced through Funky Fossil with one of the stamps on with the little dots. So here we go. The page is finished. I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this hidden journaling spot. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.